I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start, but as we saw, he came to my ears and whispered, "Please be easy on me." He thought I'm Mike Tyson and I will follow his script 40 seconds after I broke the clown's jaw. We are boxers, not content creators. I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start, but as we saw, I didn't want to put him down early. You all know I was handcuffed. I don't want to say anything that I will be regretting in the future, but all I can say now is the first 20 seconds was enough for me to end Jake Paul.
It's like this is the clearest fixed fight you're ever gonna see. Look at this guy holding his hands up and watch. Watch this. He literally shows him his chin, and he goes down. It's so fake. Look at him, he's got nothing. It's like a guy who just learned boxing.
The day after I woke up and told my wife, "Why did I do that?" I don't know. I just don't know what the hell goes on. I remember one thing, I had a very hard moment in that part of my life, but I assure you in that age, I could have put that clown in the first round, but I sold my soul. And I'm
a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. And then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavy.
Replaying it, and every time I do it feels heavier. This wasn't just a fighter getting hurt in the ring. It was an entire business model slamming into reality at full speed. When moments like that happen, people don't rush toward honesty, they rush to protect leverage. You can feel that happening now, and what's missing not just in what's being said. If everything were truly clean, there would be clarity instead of hesitation, direct answers, instead of carefully chosen words. But all we're getting is noise, loud, constant noise designed to smother the quiet questions that refuse to disappear and keep growing with every replay.
That guy did great for someone who's been boxing for less than a decade. He has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
I don't even remember what happened in the Tommy.
He lost a close decision, but it was a good fight. It was good.
Here's my honest take, and it's not comfortable. Jake Paul didn't build a real boxing career. He built a controlled environment. And controlled environments only survive until someone refuses to play along. Joshua's refusal wasn't heroic, it was normal. That's what caused panic, because normal is dangerous to a system built on special rules. The moment Joshua treated him like any other opponent, the entire experiment collapsed. And that collapse tells you everything about what this whole setup truly was from the start.
Oh, no, I don't remember the fight that much. I kind of blanked out a little. Listen, know what I remember? I'm coming back from the first round, and then the next day I remember Jake is doing some kind of, I don't know, what was he doing at the ring?
Oh, yeah, a little bow at the end. He bowed.
And that's the last thing I remember. But the day after the fight, the day after I woke up and told my wife, "Why did I do that?" I don't know. I just don't know what the hell goes on.
What did you think of Jake's power, man, when you were in there?
I don't remember it. But my body was really sore. Yeah, my body, my chest, my stomach and stuff was really sore.
People keep calling it bravery. And yes, stepping into the ring takes nerve. But bravery without wisdom is just liability. Liability is what networks insure against, not fighters. That's where it gets unsettling, because someone approved this knowing the gap to risk and the possible outcome. When approval exists, responsibility exists too. And that responsibility is being dodged right now. You can feel it in how the conversation keeps shifting back to toughness instead of honest judgment.
So nuts, right? This the fact that he's willing to fight the two-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
A guy who's gigantic in his prime, built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stay, and he's a one-punch killer. And you're going to
When Joe Rogan talked about this moment, he pointed to what Joshua's performance made impossible to ignore. The injury matters, but the precedent matters more. Once a brand tests itself against elite-level violence, the result can't be unseen. Every influencer fight from here on now exists under Joshua's shadow, and that shadow is harsh and unforgiving. Promoters know it too because plausible deniability is gone. They can't claim the ceiling is unknown anymore. We saw it clearly. It's solid, unmovable, and someone ran into it head first.
You could only take so much. And at a certain, like that one that he got from Joshua, say if you have like a punch card, you have like so many punches that you can get in your life, which I believe you do. I believe there's a certain number. That one was like 10 bunches.
Yeah.
That was like, there was a lot of concussions in that one punch.
Sure.
That was real.
What troubles me most is how predictable all of this was, not the knockout, but the fallout. Boxing history is full of moments where entertainment pushed too far and paid the price later. Those moments follow the same pattern. Every time laughter turns into curiosity into concern, and concern into regret. Right now, we're sitting squarely between concern and regret. And that regret phase is where the real stories surface, when people start distancing themselves and quietly rewriting timelines. I don't buy the idea that everyone involved was naive. That's insulting. These are professionals. They understand force. They understand damage. They understand risk curves, which means this wasn't an accident, it was a gamble. And intentional gambles always include expected losses. The question that keeps nagging at me is simple: who was expected to lose? Because it clearly wasn't supposed to look like this. Not this decisive. Not this final. That gap between expectation and outcome is usually where the truth leaks out. The Tyson angle still bothers me too, because memory loss isn't a throwaway remark. It's a flare. And flares don't get fired by accident. Whether the cause was physical, psychological, or something more complex, it added a layer of unease that never got resolved, just buried under hype. Joshua's knockout didn't create that discomfort, it uncovered it. And once graves are reopened, people inevitably start asking...
In pain?
Yeah, but it's not from like talking.
Talk to me about what your jaw feels like, because you got
It's like a baseball in there.
two plates?
It just feels like
4 titanium plates.
How many times have we seen this pattern before people underestimate how much is happening behind the scenes? Because professionals watch fights differently. They don't see drama or hype. They see timing, distance, intent. And what they saw here was someone realizing far too late that the rules had changed. That realization is terrifying because it means the safety net was never real. And imaginary safety nets are how careers end suddenly and permanently. There's a reason Joe Rogan's tone shifted, and it wasn't about morality. It was recognition. He's seen enough damage over decades to know when something stops being sport and starts flashing as a warning sign. His talk about retirement wasn't really about Jake Paul as a person. It was about stopping the next headline, the one nobody wants to read. And if you think that headline hasn't already been imagined by people in suits, you're fooling yourself. They make a living by gaming out worst-case scenarios. What we're watching now is reputation management unfolding in real time. And reputation management always looks calm on the surface and frantic underneath. The longer it takes for clear answers to appear, the more unsettling it becomes. If everything were straightforward, clarity would come easily. Instead, everything feels layered, negotiated, filtered. That's never a good sign. I keep circling back to Joshua's role not as a hero or a villain, but as an accelerant. He didn't create the problem. He exposed it faster than planned. And exposure is dangerous because it removes control. Control was a real currency here. Control over opponents, control over narratives, control over outcomes. One punch stripped that away. And control, once lost, is rarely surrendered quietly. Some will shrug and say this is just boxing. Injuries happen. Move on. That's lazy thinking. Context matters. And this context was drenched in marketing language that promised legitimacy without fully earning it. When marketing outruns reality, someone always pays a difference. This time, the bill came due in bone and metal. Now that bill is being passed around, hoping someone else picks it up. That I don't think Jake Paul is evil. I think he's a product. And products get pushed until they break. When they do, the manufacturer blames the user. The user blames the environment. The environment blames chance. Chance becomes a convenient scapegoat. But chance doesn't schedule fights. People do. People make decisions. And decisions carry consequences, even when no one wants to claim them. There's also a chilling effect coming, and you can already feel it. Fighters will hesitate. Commissions will ask tougher questions. Insurers will raise eyebrows. Suddenly, the easy money won't look so easy. And when easy money dries up, loyalty evaporates. That's when stories start changing. Praise quietly turns into distance. Fans aren't stupid either. They might enjoy spectacle, but they respect authenticity. Joshua delivered authenticity in its rawest form. Once audiences taste that again, it's hard to sell them a watered-down version. And that's a problem for any business built on blurred lines, because the line just got redrawn, and this time it's in permanent ink.
I was hoping after the Floyd fight, maybe we can have a rematch. He did well, but I want to try it again.
Is that something that you would be interested in terms of righting the wrong and not the
I would be interested. Yes, I would. I would be interested in it.
I replay this in my head, the worse it feels. Not because a fighter got hurt, but because what really collided that night wasn't just two bodies. It was a business model smashing into reality at full speed. And when that happens, people don't rush toward truth. They rush to protect leverage. You can feel that protection happening right now in what isn't being said. If everything were clean, there'd be no hesitation, no hedging, no carefully crafted language. Instead, we're drowning in noise meant to bury the questions that refuse to go away. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Jake Paul didn't build a traditional boxing career. He built a controlled environment. And controlled environments only work until someone refuses to cooperate. Joshua's refusal wasn't heroic. It was normal, and that's exactly why it caused panic, because normal is dangerous to systems built on exceptions. The moment Joshua treated him like any other opponent, the experiment collapsed. That collapse tells you more than any press release ever could. People keep talking about bravery, and sure, stepping into a ring takes courage, but bravery without wisdom is just liability. And liability is what networks insure against, not fighters. That's where this gets unsettling, because someone approved this knowing the gap, the risk, and the possible outcome. When approval exists, responsibility exists. And that responsibility is being actively avoided. You can hear it in how the conversation keeps shifting back to toughness instead of judgment. The injury matters, but the precedent matters more. Once a brand tests itself against elite violence, the result can't be unseen. Every influencer fight from now on lives under Joshua's shadow, and that shadow is long and unforgiving. Promoters know it too, because plausible deniability is gone. They can't claim the ceiling is unknown anymore. We saw it. It's concrete. And someone hit it head first. What bothers me most is how predictable the fallout was. Not the knockout, the aftermath. Boxing history is full of moments where entertainment pushed too far and paid later. Those moments always follow the same arc: laughter, curiosity, concern, then regret. Right now, we're between concern and regret. And regret is when real stories surface. When people start distancing themselves and quietly rewriting timelines that I don't buy the idea that everyone involved was naive. That's insulting. These are professionals. They understand force damage and risk curves. That means this was an intentional gamble. And intentional gambles come with expected losses. The question that won't leave me is simple: who was expected to lose? Because it clearly wasn't meant to look like this. Not this decisive. Not this final. That gap between expectation and outcome is where truth usually leaks out. The Tyson angle still lingers too. Memory loss isn't a throwaway comment, it's a flare. And flares don't get fired by accident, whether physical, psychological, or something more complex. That unease was never resolved, only buried under hype. Joshua's knockout didn't create it. It uncovered it. And once graves reopen, people start asking who put the body there in the first place. Fans underestimate how much this shook fighters behind the scenes. Professionals don't watch tape for drama. They watch timing, distance, intent. And what they saw was someone realizing too late that the rules had changed. That realization is terrifying because it means the safety net was imaginary. And imaginary safety nets are how careers end abruptly. There's a reason Joe Rogan's tone shifted, and it wasn't morality, it was recognition. He's seen enough damage to know when something stops being sport and starts becoming a warning sign. His talk about retirement wasn't about Jake Paul as a personality. It was about stopping the next headline. And if you think that headline wasn't already imagined by people in suits, you're fooling yourself. They plan for worst cases for a living. What we're seeing now is reputation management in real time. Calm on the surface, frantic underneath. And the longer clarity takes to arrive, the more suspicious it feels. If everything were straightforward, answers would be easy. Instead, everything feels layered, filtered, negotiated, and that's never comforting. Joshua's role isn't hero or villain. It's accelerant. He didn't create the problem. He exposed it sooner than planned. And exposure removes control. Control was the real currency here, control over opponents' narratives' outcomes. One punch took that away. And control, once lost, is rarely surrendered quietly. Some people will say this is just boxing. Injuries happen. Move on. That's lazy. Context matters. And this context was drenched in marketing that promised legitimacy without earning it. When marketing outruns reality, someone pays the difference. This time the bill came due in bone and metal, and now it's being passed around hoping someone else covers it. That I don't think Jake Paul is evil.